right, the last two sections of chapter 6. We'll start with 6.5. We are going to skip 6, 7, and 6, 8. That's why this is the last two sections. So what they actually did here is, in the first part of 6.5, is they want you to identify which strategy you are going to use based off of what you learned already in 6, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So understand the strategy for factoring a general polynomial. So they want you to look and figure out how to factor it based on how it looks. Okay. Is it difference of squares, sum of squares, difference of cubes, sum of cubes? Can you do it by trial and error? If it's 4 terms, how can you group them by 2 and 2 and all that? So this first one, always look to see if you can factor out a common term. So is there anything that can go into all 3 of those? Yes, -6 can. That leaves me with x squared. That leaves me with -9x. And that leaves me with -10. Okay. Now that we have this -6 factored out, we can factor this based off of what 2 numbers do I multiply together to get 10 that I can also add and get 9. Okay, so if I have 10 and it needs to be a -10, so that means I need one of these to be a negative. So if I'm at -10 and I go up 1, that takes me to -9. And 10 times 1 is 10. So I have -6, x minus 10, x plus 1. And that one is factored. Okay, again, these are all things that we've already learned how to do. It just doesn't give you a specific title on how to solve it. You have to figure out which way works best. Okay, is there anything that can go into all of these? -3 can. Leaves you with x squared minus 17x. And then -3 times positive 72 is 216. And if you weren't sure, you could work it out. Okay. Now we got to see if we can factor this. So I need 2 numbers that we multiply together to get 72 that we also add together to get 17. Well, 9 times 8 is 72, and 9 plus 8 is 17. If these are both negative and we add those together, we get -17, and 2 negatives multiplied together is positive 72. So I have -3, x minus 9, x minus 8. All right, so this one is only 2 terms, so I can't do anything like this. This is a trinomial that we factored out this way, but this is only 2 terms. So when it's only 2 terms, if there's 2 terms, check to see if it's difference of squares, sum of squares, difference of cubes, sum of cubes. So there's not 2 numbers that I can multiply together to get 216 or 125. Because 15 times 15 is 225, so that doesn't work. And there's nothing that works. So it's not going to be sum of squares, it's going to be sum of cubes. So that's where you have to go back into your 6.3, 6.4 notes in case you forgot how to do those. And we have to identify our A term and our B term. So we know that something here is to the third and something here is to the third. So start easy. The 125 is going to be 5 because 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. The 216 is actually going to be 6. 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. If I have 3 out here, I need 4 on the inside for my x's because when they're raised to a power, we multiply, and 4 times 3 is 12. So what do I multiply by 3 to get 21? That would be 7. So this is my A term, and this is my B term. And this is sum of cubes. So if I go back to my notes, I need this formula right here. So I take my a plus b, so I have 6x4y7 plus 5. And then a squared minus ab plus b squared. So a squared is going to be 36, because I gotta square the 6. I have to square the 4, so that's gonna give me x8, y14. So that's a squared, plus ab, so that's gonna give me, I'm sorry, minus ab. So it's going to give me 6 times 5 is 30, x4y7, and then plus your b squared, and b is 5, and 5 times 5 is 25. All right, this one looks like it's either going to be a square or a cube, and it looks like there's not two numbers that you can multiply together to get 1,000, but there's three numbers, 10 times 10 times 10. So this is going to be another cubed situation. Okay, so 343. You'd have to figure out three numbers that you multiply together to get 343, and that's going to be 7. Okay, if I have 9 and I already have 3, that means this has to be 3. And I need B12, I already have 3, so that has to be 4. 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. I need 15, I already have 3, so that's 5. So that's your A term, that's your B term. Now this is difference of cubes. So back in these notes, now our formula is going to look like that. So A minus B. So I have 7A3B4 minus 10C5. And then I have A squared. A squared is going to be 49A6B8 plus AB. So 10 times 7 is 70. A3B4C5. And then plus B squared. B is 10, which is 100. 10 times 10 is 100. 5 times 2 is